それでは時間と
Ladies
な
and
ります。
gentlemen, it's time.
大木康先生より
The third presentation will be the literary tales and Chinese prints by Dr. Yasushi Ōki.
大木先生、よろしくお願いします。
Dr. Ōki, please.
では今から
どうもありがとうございます。ご紹介いただきました。東
My
京大
name is Ōki and from the University of Tokyo.
美術史ではなくて、
I am not an art historian, and I am a specialist in Chinese literature. So I'm interested in the literature and the culture and society of Jinan region and in Suzhou during the Ming and Qing dynasty. I'm very grateful to have been invited to this exhibition and symbolize my social prints. I would like to talk about how I see social prints from the standpoint of literature, and thank you very much for your kind attention, and thank you for the interpreters as well. Thank you very much. Okay.
これ動かないですね。これじゃね。動きました。失礼しました。はじめに、今日の題目の物語。
So first of all, and I would like to talk about today's subject, and we call the story, narrative. And simply, it's like stories or some literature and in Chinese that we call 故事. There is no certain word called narrative, but then in Japanese that we say such as the Genji Monogatari in the tale of the Genji, and it refers to the literature in Japanese, which is comprehensively, which means the stories, and then in the narrative, it means stories. So then, if we're thinking about in the story in the comprehensive word, then I think it is in the back side and of as in the background and of a print. For example, and this print has been displayed at this exhibition, which is called Sha Te A Zhong. So the text is also on the painting and explained it. Then the shadow Shang has been in the snowing day and has been asking the nephews, what does the snow look like? And Oi has answered that it looks like like salt. A shadow as the woman and said, and who answered, which is the paintings has been floated and very beautifully and has been represented as the talented woman. And at this painting, in the room there's called Sha, and in the shallow there's the young man, and then on the right side it's called shadow, that's the female on the right side, and it seems like the time has stopped. And the Liu Jiu seems like it follows the wind, and the Shang moved her the face and look at the shadow. And from this painting, then we are able to see the 故事 and the stories from the painting. And then on the other side, and we can see if you do not see the stories, and then in the opposite way that you don't see the paintings, you only see a man and then looking at a woman, which is not the way that you shall look at a painting. The stories is the whole context about the paintings. And this 西域七里长生殿夜半无人思女诗, which is the poem. This is the Changhengge, which is in the Bai Le Tian, has been in the stories of that. In the palace, there is there's an emperor, looks like the person looked like the emperor, and then also the lady, female standing inside, and the Chohungu, and then, which is the story, and then the Chohun emperor and your prince and the queen has been, it's their stories, and we think that represents the story there. And this one is Zaigen's represents the yuanbao as the money. It's the money, silver. Silver means money and silver. Here the Zaigen, it's kind of the design reflects the takulek Caipiao in Taiwan. It's a lottery, which is a lottery that has been lottery design being used in Taiwan. The Zaigen picture is the typical wish of saying that we can make money. So that's also the stories represents that. And then this painting is also of wishing to become wealthy, but you also can see the pictures, and you can also get the stories behind it. And there are children's behind them, and then also fuku and the prosperity and the loku and then are the meanings behind it. And the bamboo is also on the top of the painting of Kurokuju is the meaning of these paintings. Qiu Bao Ping An was the Zhu Bao Ping An. Zhu Bao Ping An, it's the pictures and the praying for the prosperity and the luck. And here is the fruit, and it has been showed in the plate, and then we only see it as a clear only as a fruit painting, but that there's a stories that we need to see it behind. And here that we can see any paintings behind any paintings, there are stories, and then maybe there's an intentions that you can say, and there are the way of describing, there is a context. However, there's a too comprehensive that way of we to capture it. So here that there are three narrative that we are able to segregate the paintings. So first of all, then we can say a play stories, and also, and we can see how is the frame, how is the frame, and how is the context, how is the way of painting. First of all, let's see from the frame, from the frame, one scene of the stories and of one whole stories, and maybe it's in the continuous stories. So this is a one scene. Here is a one scene. Sangokshi, the 56 Daien Dojakutai was the stage. So was a starting this arrow competitions, and we see the stories. And from the Ming that the dynasties, and there has been populated, and these kind of story paintings has been also used. And these one was popular, was used from the wooden print, and which has been used as the story play. So this painting is showing as a Sangokshi play and use the wooden print. So as we said, that's a typical one scene. It's the typical one scene of the story. So one scene, and this is the wooden print. So there are the set, and in contracts, then this is like the manga we can see it in Japan. So there isn't a story. There's a continuous stories that this is also Sangoku in the Sangoku Engi Sango play that is starting from the beginning of the fight from the left bottom that we see the Sangu Maori. There is the scene starting from the left bottom, and then also there's another one about Seisoki. This is also in the well recognized continued painting. Here, the stories that from the beginning and to the end, and we're able to find the footprint on those paintings. the Xixiangji paintings, and we can see that in each paintings there the stories, the words written on the paintings, but on this print. So and I think the writer of these paintings, that so that the artist has been made this print only for the story, and this is the description on it, and this is also Xixiangji, a piece of the Xixiangji. And the story is Xixiangji. However, it is a play, it's only played on the stage, but this part is not showing on the stage, but it's represented more as real stories, and kind of more the garden, and the real scene has been demonstrated on the painting. See here, the Xixiangji and originally is the play text, and so these paintings, Chen Hongshou Hua is the one of the most famous one, and these ones is the Bo Dan Tei, Mu Dan Ting, which is the paintings. This is also the real story version. There is no stage. There's no stage reflected on the painting, but it's all based on the real imaginations, and the garden itself is being painted on it, and then also these ones, and we also found it and it was interesting. This is about the white snake stories, and it's a continuous story, the continued version, which is interesting that we discovered from this white snake story that who has the background of the white snake is Seiko, is in Hangzhou, and but we can see that it is from for the play Kyogeki, the before scene and after scene, and we see it's the story on, and we see the equipment being used in the play, in the traditional Chinese play, that they use only like very simple tools, like only table or only just a chair that it's being used. And in this painting, in this print, we can see those equipment are used, and also the dress that we're wearing are the real play, in the real play. And I wonder why they didn't show this painting as the real things, like water or mountain or things, but showing a very just a clear play. And I was curious about it. So here that when we are looking at performance and performance, and then we have researched from the print, and then we enter into the Chinese visual performance. And in these days now we have videos. We have a video as a tool, then we can record it the whole. We can record the whole stories. But in Ming and Qing dynasties, there were no such method. That's why within that time, then how for them to record the performance, the prints was a significant way, and it wasn't a useful tools for them to record it. And in Chicago, this professor that hasn't published a book, and for as a visual culture, and there are a lot of paintings and a lot of pictures included. Part of them are the social prints. These social prints, and has been included in the part of the instruction of the performance in the visual art. And these ones, and also that we can see, and this paintings has been displayed today, and it's really colorful and nice. 打乱架 is the name of, and then all the people are painted, all the people are demonstrated in as the real play personnel in the play. the San Xia Wu Yi was the story was the story of these paintings, and the main character was is in the middle, Hojo, and dressed in black. And then all cast property that we can see is on this drawing, on this painting. However, on the left side, there is a figure. It looks like a stone. However, maybe it doesn't exist on the real stage. It's probably much more neutral place.
This is the West Journey, the journey to the West. And these are definitely the scene from the theater, the Jade Rabbit Spirit and the Spirit of the Moon Rabbit. This is also features all the characters, including Sangoku, Sandan Hoshi, and Jubei. So, oh, by the way, speaking of theatrical pictures, there are Japanese ukiyo-e. The actors of ukiyo-e are playing some kind of roles in the play or in the drama. So, but so the actor is playing somebody, but in this case, in ukiyo-e, the actor himself is very important. For example, this picture wants to show Ichikawa Ebizo. In contrast, in the case of Chinese theatrical print, it does not matter very much who the actors are. The shibai, there are no shibai in China who shows the name of the actors. This is a Meilan fan. There are Meilan fan bromides, for example. However, this is very new. So the question is then, what does the Chinese theatrical print wants to show? So, for example, as we saw, this is the Three Kingdoms serial print. And if you look closely at this work, you will notice something interesting as well. This is the enlarged version. This is the magnified view. But if you look closely at the faces of Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, you will see what is called kenpu, or the face with makeup. However, in the case of theatrical art, there are no real horses, and the background does not look like this. So in that sense, it is not a stage picture or theatrical picture, a theatrical print, but it is the face of the drama in terms of the character of the drama. So it is not likely that the actual Guan Yu and Zhang Fei were fighting with Kumadori makeup. The theatrical art and narrative of, or the tale of Suzhou prints, but what exactly are these Ōki prints? So Master Shiba Sho, the Shokatsu Kome, the Jugei Ryan Komin are in theatrical costumes. The Master Shiba wears red-colored kumadori. The beard of Shibai also looks like the bushy beard costume for Beijing opera or Peking opera. However, in the actual play or drama, there are no horses. According to the stage convention, if you hold a whip or stick, you are riding a horse. However, the castle is very small. The Zhang Komin is on the castle, but the castle is very small and looks like a stage prop very much. So this is the same scene, an illustration from the novel, The Romance of Three Kingdoms. So this is not the theatrical, but realistic looking So the size of the castle is also realistic. The Shokatsukome, the Jandian Komin's size is also real, so it's very close to real. So ones in the book are usually realistic drawings. For example, the illustration of Romans of Three Kingdoms is usually real. In contrast, these single-piece designs are more like a stage depiction. What does this mean? This is perhaps the biggest difference between drama or play and a novel, or the difference between a play performed on the stage and a novel or play as a reading or book. So that means, in other words, there have been two layers of population to understand the stories in China. Those who read them through the written word and those who got to know them with their eyes and ears through theatrical performance. Stage plays can be seen and enjoyed by anyone. In contrast, plays and novels as books can only be read by literate people. The elite and common people may sound exaggerating, but I think it is possible to say that the two groups reflect such differences. The Rojin wrote a small piece called Village Theater about his childhood memories. And when the village theater plays come, all the children go and watch. The Chinese people love plays and dramas. Even those who do not know the written word and cannot read, for example, the stories of Romans of Three Kingdoms, they know through their eyes and ears. Conversely, to a larger number of people, Guan Yu was perceived as a person with a red shading or red makeup. The Baozhou, on the other hand, was understood as a man with a black shading. So it seems natural that the prints intended for wider public would depict more familiar stage figures rather than realistic designs. So as such, I believe that people on the stage will be depicted in prints that are more suitable for the common people. I am just imagining here, but these single sheet print that may have been sold at or near the playhouse or theater. On the contrary, intellectuals know that even though it is a novel, there is no way that the Guan Yu would have worn red makeup in the past. So the illustrations of the novel as a book will be realistic pictures. The same is true for the illustrations of plays, which we saw earlier. In a sense, we might say that the Suzhou prints in the Renkanga style or serial style of the Waste Chamber, Complete Romance of Waste Chamber, are also high-end products. When you go to visit temples in the south of China, you will see the hanging screens. This is one we saw Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. It is carved with some kind of tale or story. If you look closely, you can see that the figures are dressed in stage costumes. These are the shaded Guan Yu and Shan Fei figures we saw earlier. I think the only limited number of people read the stories of the Romans of Three Kingdoms in books. So for the majority of people, the most common way to see the legend of the Three Kingdoms was in a play. So dressing up as a play was probably the most realistic way to see. So in this respect, such wood carving designs and prints seems to have something in common. This is guapin can be seen in Hong Kong as well. In Hong Kong, there is a mausoleum of Chan Fei. The Gandhi mausoleum is everywhere, but the mausoleum of Shan Fei is rare. So I went there. So here too, it was engraving of a scene from the Chang'an Bridge, but even Shanfei here is a theatrical figure, aside from the horses. So this is a wood carving from a Hanzhou. It is a story of some kind, and the figures are dressed in theatrical costumes. I think it is an ancient legend, and I think it is because people were more familiar with the play to express it than with the real thing. So if you look at the luxury and popular products in print, and of course we have to take into consideration the difference of the times, but this kind of stage print is more folksy. And those complete romance of waist chamber, the real figure is more luxurious. So this is probably is related to the print techniques. So I'd like to hear the comments from the experts. So I'd like to show you a very interesting example. The Suzhou print, the complete romance of three kingdoms on exhibit. This is the fighting scenery and the realism, and its realistic paint picture. It's actually near the river water. I can see the rock and mountain, and armors were worn by warriors and others, and they are fighting. So this story is the number 45 of the Romance of Three Kingdoms, and it's called Ling Kokai, Ling and Hui. So prior to Sekiheki, the battle, very similar to Liu Ben is summoned by Yu, and Yu tries to kill Liu Bei there. However, Kang Wu, the Guan Yu, who went with him, protected Liu Bei and saved his life. Then why is Zheng Fei fighting in the sprint? When this becomes a play or drama, the Guan Yu was replaced by Zheng Fei in Beijing opera, Chinese opera, and other performances. In other words, the paint had So in other words, this paint or the print had one cushion from the Three Kingdoms performance, in which the Zheng Fei is active in the play, and then it is made into a painting again. So I think this is another example of how the story of drama or theatrical art has transcended history and became very popular among people. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your cooperation and guidance.